Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Sa Vaishnavan Ko Sa Prem or Sadhar, Jai Shri Krishna. Continuing the reading of the biographies of the 252 Vaishnava disciples of Sri Gusaiji, today is day number 96 and Varta 72, the story of one Nagar Satodara Brahmin from Gujarat, Bhav Prakash. He lived in a village 20 miles from Godhra. He was born into a wealthy Brahmin family. His parents both died when he was 5. He had an uncle who looked after the boy, but he also died when the boy was 18. The boy took all his wealth and came to Godhra to live. He began to love going to see dance performances, and his heart was attached to prostitutes and actors. He began to sing and dance. One day he met a Vaishnava who recognized that he was divine soul and said, "You could be very happy if you put as much of your heart into the Lord as you do into this song and dance." The Brahmin asked of him, "Who do you mean when you say Thakur?" He replied that he was talking about Sri Krishna. He lives in Vraja and dances with the Vraja devotees, the gopis. He is the supreme appreciator of divine loving mood. If you love him, you will be fulfilled. Otherwise, everything is pointless. The Nagar Brahmin then asked, "How can I apply my heart to Sri Krishna?" The Vaishnava replied, "He is the ultimate enjoyer of all loving moods. He enjoys all the most beautiful things in this world. Therefore, you should offer him all the highest quality foodstuffs, cloth, pan, fragrance, and jewelry, etc. Then you should sing and dance only for him. Put your heart into him in this way. This dancing and music, when offered to him, becomes a reward. Otherwise, these things tie one down to one's karma and create more worldly wranglings and tangles. That is the way down to hell." The Brahmin again asked, "How will the Lord be pleased to accept such offerings?" The Vaishnava informed him, "Nowadays Sri Thakurji is accessible through the auspices of Sri Gusaiji. If you surrender to him, then the Lord will accept your offerings on his say-so." The Brahmin asked him, "Who is Sri Gusaiji and where does he live?" The Vaishnava said, Sri Gusaiji is Sri Acharyaji's son. His name is Sri Vittalnathji. He is divine. He lives in Gokul. The Brahmin decided that he should surrender to Sri Gusaiji, and he asked the Vaishnava how he could do this. "Should I just go to Gokul?" The Vaishnava continued, "He himself will tell you what to do. I can tell you that Sri Gusaiji will be coming here in a few days. I have received such news. His messenger said this, but it is Nagji Bhatt who knows more about this. Go and meet Nagji Bhatt and keep his company. He is a vessel of Sri Gusaiji's grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. You will achieve a lot by meeting him." The Brahmin then proceeded to Nagji Bhatt's house. He told him everything. Nagji Bhatt said, "Do not worry about anything. Sri Gusaiji is most merciful. He accepts his own souls. He will be coming this way within a few days. Then you can become his disciple." Nagji consoled him in this way. The Brahmin then returned home. However, he could not rest. He was very impatient. Every day he went to Nagji Bhatt's house, both morning and evening, to ask when Sri Gusaiji would be arriving. It was not too long before Sri Gusaiji arrived there. Nagji told Sri Gusaiji all the news. Sri Gusaiji said, "That soul is very elevated." He then got the Brahmin to bathe, and then he initiated him with the Lord's name and Brahma Sambandh. The Brahmin then supplicated, "O Maharaj, please grant me the Lord's Seva." Sri Gusaiji most mercifully granted him a swarupa of Sri Madan Mohanji and taught him all the ways of Seva. He told him, "Serve the Lord through your dancing and singing. The Lord will be very pleased with you." This was Sri Gusaiji's blessing to him. The Nagar Brahmin made a donation to Sri Gusaiji and then took his Sri Thakurji back home with him and began to serve him very nicely, and also met with the other Vaishnavas regularly. Part 1. That Vaishnava did not live far from the Nagar Brahmin. They would meet a lot and sit together for satsang in the evenings, whilst in the day they would both go together to fetch water. The Vaishnava would come past his house and call out to him to come. One day they were on their way to fetch water. On the way lived a prostitute whose daughter was exceptionally beautiful. She was about 12 years old. The mother was teaching her to sing and dance. She would dance within the house with ankle bells on. The Bhagava's drum was being sounded. The two Vaishnavas passed by this house and they saw her standing there. Nagar recognized that she was a divine soul. The light of the divine shone out of her face. He stopped there and was staring at her with the water pot upon his head. The other Vaishnava piped up, "It is not appropriate to stand here like this. Let's go." The first one said, "Oh, just stay a while. There is something extraordinary here." The second Vaishnava said, "I am going. Follow me later." He left. He filled his water pots and went home. He complained to his wife, "That Vaishnava seems to be lusty. He has not lost his need for sense gratification. He is standing at the door of a prostitute in the road. He has been consumed with desire. I think I should no longer keep his company. If he comes to call for me, tell him I am not here." The Vaishnava Naga Brahmin had recognized that girl to be a divine soul and addressed her mother, "Will you please send your daughter to my house tonight? Let her stay with me for 12 hours. The mother gave her permission, but said that he would have to pay her 1 golden coin. The Brahmin said, "Very well, I shall come to call for her." After offering his three Thakurji the afternoon services and after the evening arti, he went to the prostitute's house and fetched the girl. He bathed her with unguents and then water. He dried her hair and body and gave her brand new jewellery and clothes to wear. He sat her down near the door to his temple and pronounced the 8-syllable mantra of surrender into her ear. He gave her tulsi necklaces and foot nectar, charanamrit from Sri Acharyaji, Sri Gosaiji, Sri Govardhanaji and his own Swarup. Then he fed her with Mahaprasad. She began to speak in the divine language of Sanskrit. The Nagar Brahmin then bathed, entered the temple, took up all Sri Thakurji's toys and games, and filled the Lord's water pot. He put some snacks and pan near the Lord's throne, where he lit 2 ghee wicks, and he lit 4 wicks in the temple. He also put some lamps near the door. He then addressed the girl. "Contemplate on Sri Acharyaji and Sri Gosaiji, bow down to them and fix your mind on them. Do the very best you can. Don't hold back. Have an open mind and do not be shy or have worldly thoughts before Sri Thakurji." She bowed to the Lord and began to dance. She bowed down again and began to sing about the Ras Leela. It was the autumn season. She started to sing, and taking the names of Sri Acharyaji and Sri Gosaiji, her body began to fill with the Lord's presence. She recited all the shlokas from the Srimad Bhagavatam that depict the Lord's great circle dance and forgot all about her body. She danced for 12 hours. The girl, the Brahmin and Sri Thakurji got all wrapped up in the loving mood. The Brahmin and the girl lost all awareness of their material frames. They did not realize that it was the morning. The girl's mother came looking for her. She called out to her and knocked on the door, but to no result. A little while after this, a nearby renunciate came there who was ringing a bell, and only then did they come back to their senses, realizing that it was already daytime. The girl was taken home. He went and bathed and engaged in the Lord's Seva. After partaking of prasad, he got into Aparas in order to go and fetch water. He went to the other Vaishnava's house and called out to him, but no one answered. He knocked on the door, but the Vaishnava's wife called out to him, saying that he was not at home. That evening the Vaishnava did not come over. The Brahmin thought to himself, "Oh no, he has found fault with me." He was very sad to think that he had lost his Vaishnava friend and was most saddened by this. Thereafter her Sri Thakurji told that Vaishnava's wife, "I am going to Gokul." She asked him why he wanted to leave. Sri Thakurji answered, "Why did your husband find fault with the other Vaishnava? He is an extraordinary Vaishnava. He had that girl dance before me, and that prostitute's daughter is also extraordinary. Your husband criticized them too much and spoilt their relationship. Therefore I am leaving." Bhav Prakash. Why? The Brahmin is Brajanagari in the eternal Leela. She is an intimate Sakhi of Sri Chandravaliji. In the Ras Leela, she sings together with Sri Chandravaliji. She manifests from Chitralekha and is thus a form of her Rajasi divine loving sentiment. The prostitute's daughter is Brajanagari's companion named Nritya Nitranipurna. Nritya Nipurna. She is extremely talented in dance. When Brajanagari sings, she dances. One day Sri Thakurji asked her to dance. She refused, saying that she was busy. Sri Thakurji was not pleased. From this offence she had to be borne into the prostitute's home. However, the Brahmin had been able to recognize her and he uplifted her. The other Vaishnava did not know all this and was disappointed by his behaviour. Sri Thakurji did not inform him, but they were disciples of Sri Gosaiji, and so he told his wife. Thus he blessed the wife. Part 1 continued. The wife pleaded with Sri Thakurji, "Oh Maharaj, please don't go. I will send my husband to that Vaishnava's home later." The wife told her husband everything, especially what Sri Thakurji had said. He got up and immediately went to the Naga Brahmin Vaishnava's house and called out to him. Bhav Prakash. Why? Both the husband and wife are divine souls. In the eternal Leela, they are both Sakhis of Brajanagari. The wife's name is Bhamini and the husband's name is Brajadeva. The husband's name is Brajadevi. Therefore they realized their mistake, and he realized their true identity, and so rushed over to the Vaishnava's house. Part 1 continued. The Brahmin Vaishnava opened the door and the other fell at his feet. He said, "Please forgive my mistake. I was very wrong to see fault in what you were doing." They embraced and began again to enjoy the bliss of satsang. Bhav Prakash. The moral of this story is that one should not criticize an elevated Vaishnava's actions. Thus concludes Varta 72, the story of the Nagar Brahmin Vaishnava, who was a vessel of Sri Gosaiji's grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. There is truly no end to his story. Thus concludes our reading for today. Varta 72. सब वैष्णवों को सादर जय श्री कृष्ण। आज के आनंद की जय, श्री गोसाई जी की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे।